At the start of every year, Connor and I do one thing that sets up our entire sailing season, and it's probably the biggest reason we've been more consistent over the last 5 years. In the next 5 minutes, we're going to show you exactly how we plan a full racing season, from choosing key events to training, fitness, and budgeting, so you can start the year with a clear plan instead of guesswork. The easiest place to start is by picking your highlight event for the year and working backwards from there. In previous seasons, we've usually had one big goal. For example, last year everything revolved around the Fireball Worlds in Lake Garda. This year is a little different. We're splitting our time between the Fireball and the GP14. So instead of one standard event, we've picked three major targets that we'll be doing together. The first of these is the Fireball Nationals in Howth, followed by the GP14 Nationals, and then finishing off with the GP14 Worlds in the middle of August. These are the events that the rest of the season is built around. Once we've picked our target events, we set an objective for what we want to achieve at them. But over the years, we've learned that relying purely on results isn't ideal. Results depend on a lot of things you can't control, like the other 100 boats on the start line. So instead, we support that main goal with a series of smaller, smarter goals. Most of these aren't results based at all, they're things completely within our control, such as boat handling, consistency, starts, and decision making. The big advantage of this is that even if we miss our headline result, we can still look back and say the season wasn't a total disaster because we hit the goals that we could fully control. Next up is filling in the sailing calendar around the main target events. We start by adding all the events we know we want to do. Generally, we try to race as much as possible. For this season, the plan is to do the full GP14 and Fireball circuits in Ireland. We like to use these events to lock in different routines that we have for events. These include our pre-event checklists, pre-start routines, post-racing routines, and post-event routines. If you'd like to know more about these, comment routines down below, and if there's interest, we'll make a separate video explaining each of them. Once the main events are locked in, we look at what else we might be able to squeeze into our calendar. For this year, we've got a few potential side quests. We've really enjoyed sailing the Melgus 15 whenever we've had the chance, so we'd love to do the Eastern Championships in May. The Europeans in Lake Garda would be a dream. It's a great venue, great boat, and Garda is hard to beat if the breeze shows up. The Melgus 15 Nationals at the end of August are also a possibility. The catch is that we don't own a Melgus, so we'd need to rely on charter availability and people's generosity to lend their boats to us. Another tempting option is the Howth 17 Intergalactic Championships. We both feel like we've got unfinished business in this class after finishing joint first at the last Nationals and losing out on countback. That said, fitting it in before the GP14 Worlds may be a bit tight. Once the events are in the diary, we look at what dates are left and plan the most important part of the whole thing: training. Training is a bit tricky for us because we live about 2 hours apart, so it needs to be efficient and worthwhile. This year, we've prioritised training during the winter months before the season really kicks off. To maximise our time, we'll be pairing training sessions with the Royal North Spring Series in the months of March and April. That way, we can train in the morning and then use the racing in the afternoon to work on things like starts, mark roundings, and race scenarios. Stuff you can't properly practice with one or two other boats. With training dates set, we decide what we actually need to work on. A major focus for us this year is light wind boat speed, which has been one of our weaker areas over the last few seasons. If you're getting into racing, this is probably the single biggest tip we can give you. Focus on boat speed. Tactics and strategy are important, but they'll never make up for being slow. To improve this, we'll be doing a lot of two-boat tuning, which means lining up a regular training partner. Something we're still working on, but we've got a few ideas on who could be joining us. Alongside sailing, we also agree on what physical training we need to do. A mix of strength and cardio is key, and thankfully that's never been a major issue for us. We also spend time getting the boats ready. At the end of every season, we make a full winter repair list for each boat. For example, here's a list of things that we had to fix on the Fireball before the start of this season. Taking the time to do the boat work properly massively reduces the risk of failures during regattas. And throughout the season, if something starts to look worn or suspect, we'll replace it before it becomes a problem. A big part of any campaign is finances. Unfortunately, sailing isn't cheap and costs add up quite quickly. We're lucky that we own both the Fireball and the GP14, so we don't need to budget for charters. Consumables like sails are split evenly. Bigger items that hold their value, mast, booms, rudders, are paid for by whoever owns each boat. All event-related costs are split 50-50, which keeps things simple and fair. We've used this approach for the last 4 years and it's worked out pretty well. Finally, social media has become a bigger part of our campaign over the years. It's not our main focus and probably never will be, but this season we want to do a better job of documenting the behind the scenes side of things: training, preparation, and the event themselves. So if you'd like to follow the journey, make sure to hit the subscribe button and we'll see you on the water.